Just like FIRST Robotics competition, F1 racing requires teamwork, grit, creativity, passion, and the power of good engineering. On behalf of Gene Haas Foundation, Haas Automation, Haas Motorsports, and all our Haas teams, good luck this season. It's kickoff time.
Wow! If that doesn't get you energized for the season, I'm not sure what will. Welcome to the 2023 FIRST Robotics Competition Season Kickoff presented by Novellus as we launch Charged Up presented by Haas, coming to you live from the home of FIRST in Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm Blair from FIRST.
And I'm Arwen, former FIRST LEGO League and FIRST Tech Challenge participant and current FIRST Robotics Competition team member of 1014 in Ohio. Thank you for joining us, whether from your living room, your team meeting room, or at one of the 134 local kickoffs taking place around the world. We are so excited that you're here and among the 3,300 FIRST Robotics competition teams eagerly awaiting to compete in this season's challenge. Recently, we checked in with a few teams who wanted to share their excitement for the 2023 season.
UK is ready for FRC 2023. We are charged up!
O Brasil está pronto para a FRC 2023. We are
Charged up!
México está listo para FRC 2023.
¡Estamos charged! România este pregătită pentru FRC 2023. Noi suntem charged up!
Polska jest gotowa na FRC 2023. Jesteśmy charged up!
México está listo para
FRC 2023. Estamos charged up!
Those teams are as fully charged up as mine is. We'll be sharing some more global shoutouts from energized teams throughout the show.
We have 32 countries competing this season, which is really, really awesome. And Arwen, you are on one of those teams. So tell me, what has your team been doing to prepare for the season?
Well, over the last couple months, we've been hard at work brainstorming possible ideas for a robot. We've also built some basic elements of our robot, and our team leaders have been teaching new members how to program, how to drive, and a little bit more about mechanical design. Most importantly, we've done some safety training and some awesome outreach activities, like helping run a FIRST LEGO League scrimmage. Of course, we've also been trying to guess what this year's game is, so I'm very excited to see if my predictions will come true today.
Well, we will unveil the game in just a little bit. But first, let's thank our partners who helped make this season possible. This season, First Energize, presented by Qualcomm, challenges teams to reimagine the future of sustainable energy and power their ideas forward. Each time we plug in, fuel up, turn a key, flip a switch, or press a button to make something go, we're using energy that's delivered to us in many ways, connecting us and powering our lives. From maximizing the performance of devices to using 5G to help lower greenhouse gas emissions, creating power-efficient technologies is in Qualcomm's DNA. Qualcomm understands innovative engineering, creative problem solving, and that future leaders and innovators all start with a spark of brilliance. They start with you. Big thanks to Qualcomm for helping to ignite those sparks and for investing in the future. We're proud to partner with them for the first Energize season and super grateful for their continued support over the years.
Today's kickoff is the beginning of the 2023 First Robotics competition season. But before you open your kit of parts, let's give an extra big thanks to our kickoff presenting sponsor, Novellus. Here with a special message is Tudor Peratella, a lead engineer for Novellus.
Hello, First Robotics competition community. My name is Tudor Peratella, coming to you from the Novellus Global Research and Technology Center, and we're excited to be part of the Charged Up game reveal today. Novellus is a longtime supporter of First and proudly donates our aluminum in the build kits. What energizes me about my career at Novellus is the opportunity to engineer our infinitely recyclable aluminum to provide sustainable solutions for our customers that connect us, refresh us, and advance the circular economy. As you reimagine the future of energy sustainability and use our aluminum to engineer your robots, you can help us champion the circular economy by recycling your scrap and all those beverage cans fueling your building sessions. Join our alliance and energize your community around recycling, as other teams are doing through the creation of can-crushing robots. Every can counts. Recycling just one can saves 95% of the energy required to make a new one. Thank you for championing STEM and sustainability in your community. From all of us at Novellus, good luck and go First!
Wow. Thank you, Novellus. You heard it, every can counts. It's cool to know that we can all conserve energy through the simple act of recycling a can or aluminum scrap from our shop. And well done to the teams leading recycling efforts in their communities already. Now, another sponsor for today's kickoff is the United States Space Force. We're grateful for their continued support and for our recent behind-the-scenes visit to a Space Force base.
This is so cool. Check it out. Space Force is helping support the kickoff this season.
Space Force! Yeah, cool. I love NASA.
It's not NASA, dude. It's the United States Space Force. They do lots of cool stuff.
Like what? Flying through space.
Very funny. Let's see if they'll show us what they do.
That'd be really cool.
Okay, let me make a call.
Space Launch Delta 30, Major Hutchins here. Who? First Robotics? Why, of course, I can facilitate a tour of Space Launch Delta 30. We're big fans of First, and continue to be impressed with your talents and determination and your collaborative spirit, of course. As a matter of fact, we would love to have First alumni on the Space Force team. I know, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me arrange that tour for you and show you what the Space Force is all about. You're more than welcome. See you soon. How did she get my number?
Welcome to the Space Force base at Vandenberg. I'm Lieutenant Latimer. Major Hutchins told me that you guys had some questions about what the Space Force does.
Yeah.
Think of all the things that rely on satellites: texting your friends, playing video games, and checking out the FRC blog. It's our job to make those satellites safe and operational.
How?
It's a team effort. Follow me. For starters, we launch, control, and monitor a lot of different types of satellites.
We also monitor rocket launches around the world.
We're responsible for space surveillance on all satellites and potentially dangerous space debris.
And we even monitor the weather.
Whoa!
Basically, we're like your first teams around the world, working together towards a common goal and using many of the same skills as you. Does that make sense?
It does now. Thanks for the tour.
It was my pleasure, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
That was really cool.
Thanks, Space Force!
Okay, that was cool. Thanks, Space Force. And now let's send it to Arwen, who's standing by with someone who's in a new position at FIRST, but who's been a part of FIRST for most of his life. Arwen?
Thanks, Blair. I'm here with Colin Foltz, the new Senior Director of the FIRST Robotics Competition. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you, Arwen, and thank you for being here to help us launch the 2023 FRC season. Are you having fun yet?
Absolutely. Now, Colin, you started off in FIRST as a student on Team 234, is that right?
That's right, Arwen. 22 years ago was my first kickoff for FIRST Robotics Competition team when I joined the Cyber Blue team on the mechanical sub-team.
Now, how has being an alum impacted your life today?
Being an alum means that you are immediately connected to a global community through FIRST. Pretty much anything you want to do in life, there's someone in FIRST that can help you get there. And for me personally, that community strengthened and grew when I started volunteering with FIRST after high school. Not only was volunteering a great way to build skill sets, I was also able to connect with other volunteers from across the world in ways that I just couldn't as a student.
You also mentored a team, so can you talk about how important the mentors were on your team and what your philosophy was as a mentor?
As a student, I was really lucky to be able to work side by side with mentors who showed me everything from how to safely operate a lathe to how to work as part of a team. They inspired me to want to learn more and to be better. I tried to be that same type of mentor because mentors are really what set FIRST apart. It's the mentors that set the culture on their teams. There are a lot of viewpoints about how involved mentors should be in team activities like robot design. My view is that mentors and coaches should focus on making sure that their students are inspired. That is our mission. And there's no one-size-fits-all for what that inspiration should look like, and it's going to vary team by team and often year by year.
Frank Merrick, your predecessor, always made sure that teams remember to put safety first. What's something that you hope teams will remember?
No surprise here, Arwen, it is also safety. I want all participants in FIRST to remember that safety expands to mean more than just being safe with tools or being safe with your robot. It also means creating an environment where all participants feel safe and respected. And to help with that, we have resources for mentors who need a place to start. These conversations can be uncomfortable, but discussing these topics ahead of time, having safety policies in place, and truly fostering a culture of open communication can help prevent situations where a person might feel unsafe. Now, Frank also led the growth of our program for many years by focusing on transparency. I aim to maintain that transparency, and creating a safe space is a large part of how we plan to protect and grow the FIRST community.
Thanks, Colin. You know, FIRST is such a big part of my life, and I'm sure it is for many other students and alums here today. It's great to have an alum in charge, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, and thank you, Arwen, for being here and helping us kick off. I hope you have a great time and a great season.
Thank you so much.
FRC 2023.
Le Canada est prêt pour le FRC 2023. We are
Nederland is klaar voor FRC 2023. Wij zijn Charged Up!
El equipo de Charger 6483 de México está listo para la competencia de robots FRC 2023. We're Charged Up!
México está listo para FRC 2023. We are Charged Up!
Siete parados!
Is the USA ready for FRC 2023? We are
As Colin mentioned, mentors are a critical part of FIRST. They inspire. Our community recognizes mentors with the annual Woody Flowers Award, a huge honor for mentors. Let's hear more about it from the 2022 Woody Flowers Award winner, Christine Sapio, and her team.
Mentors are supportive.
Our mentors are family.
My mentor makes me feel valued and heard.
They make sure everyone on our team has a voice.
My mentors help me make a difference. Our hard work is not for nothing.
My mentors help make my goals and dreams a reality.
First mentors model gracious professionalism so that we, in turn, become role models ourselves.
Because of my first mentors, I was able to reach places I would have never been able to on my own. Nominating my mentor for the Woody Flowers Award meant that I could thank them for changing my life forever.
Because of my first mentors, I've been able to not only impact my life, but those around me.
Hey First Teams, this is Christine Sapio coming to you from my classroom at Coconino High School in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm the non-technical coach of Team 2486, the Coconuts, and I was honored this year with the 2022 Woody Flowers Award at the First Championship. For me, the most rewarding part about being a First Mentor is providing opportunities for my students and helping them to become the best version of themselves. Remember, each team can nominate one mentor for the Woody Flowers Finalist Award and a previous finalist for the Championship Woody Flowers Award. We can't wait to read all about all your incredible mentors.
Please honor your mentors by nominating them for the Woody Flowers Award. And we love you, mentors!
Wow, go Christine, you rock. You can clearly see how much it means to honor a mentor by nominating them for the Woody Flowers Award. I hope this inspires lots of us students to nominate our mentors as well.
And by doing so, you also honor the legacy of Woody Flowers, who created the ethos of gracious professionalism. Woody and mentors are a reminder to keep gracious professionalism as part of everything we do at First.
It's now my pleasure to introduce someone who is very new to First a year ago, but who has embraced our enthusiastic First community and who's here to share some reflections on his first year. Please welcome First CEO, Chris Moore.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, Arwen. And happy kickoff to all our teams. Hello, First Robotics Competition teams. I am thrilled to be sharing this kickoff day with all of you around the world. The energy is truly electric. I hope the game we're about to share charges you up to build some extraordinary machines. I can't wait to see what you come up with this season. And on a personal note, today marks my second First Robotics Competition kickoff, and I am embarking on my second year as CEO of First. Over the past year, I've had the opportunity to meet many, many passionate, kind, hardworking members of the First community, and I've seen just what it takes to deliver the transformative experiences you've all heard about to start this season. I've traveled extensively, attended regional and district events from Texas to Tallahassee, from North Carolina to Michigan, and visited First teams in Europe, and I really got the opportunity to experience firsthand our ethos of cooperation and gracious professionalism up close and personal. I spoke to many students, their parents and mentors, and I've heard amazing stories about how First is helping to change lives and make a difference in their communities. Most importantly, I've witnessed something that I've already known in the abstract, which is that First is more than just robots. Sure, we're giving students a hands-on learning experience and sharpening their skills in math and science and technology, but through First, they are learning much, much more. They are learning how to work together with other students who may look different than they do or come from different geographic or socioeconomic backgrounds. They're learning how to communicate, think critically and creatively, how to run a business, how to market themselves, how to fundraise. I've learned that our community is what makes First so much more than robots. Through the First Mentor Network, which is sponsored by our strategic partner, NI, several hundred experienced First mentors have made themselves available to help teams with everything from fundraising to travel logistics to programming. If your team needs more mentors, be sure to check it out through the First dashboard. By the way, January is National Mentoring Month here in the United States, so let's take a moment to thank all of the remarkable First mentors and coaches out there. I've also had the pleasure of meeting many volunteers who power our events. They work tirelessly to ensure that each and every FIRST event is safe and fun. Last year, our volunteers supported nearly 3,000 official FIRST events around the world. Between volunteering at events and mentoring teams throughout the season, FIRST volunteers, educators, and coaches gave over 21 million hours of their time to you. We're so grateful for their dedication, so thank you, thank you, thank you, FIRST volunteers. I've met all of our program delivery partners, not just here in the US, but many abroad as well, who charge up FIRST at the local level. Because of their tireless efforts to bring FIRST to their region, young people from many corners of the globe are able to discover a love of learning, hone their creativity, find belonging, and power up to their full potential. We're also grateful for the electrifying generosity of our sponsors and donors. Through in-kind donations and financial contributions, sponsors and donors enable our participants to have the tools they need to succeed and build their futures. In closing, let me say it again. The people who represent the heart of our community, that would be you. Our FIRST participants and our alumni, thank you. Because of this support network, you are empowered to build a better world. You become gracious professionals who innovate, compete, and collaborate with equal energy and share a common passion for using science and technology as a force for good. To all of our students and teams, thank you, thank you, thank you for inspiring me every day to continue nurturing and growing this community. So have fun today and best of luck this season. Thank you.
Česká republika je připravena na FIRST 2023.
We are charged up! Trinidad México, estamos listos para el FRC 2023. Charge up! Woo!
日本も FRC2023 が待ちきれない。私たちもチャージアップ
FRC2023 Taiwan to Hello! We are charged up!
Australia is ready for FRC 2023.
We are charged up!
These teams are going to run out of places to store all that energy. If you want your team to be featured at an event, we're collecting short videos from teams to play at competitions throughout the season. Think short, fun, TikTok-style videos that show the personality of your team. Have fun with it and be creative. Go to the FIRST website or watch the social channels for more info. Okay, we're getting close to the revealing of this season's game. But before we do that, let's check in with Blair and his special guest.
Arwen, it is my pleasure to introduce someone whose vision for a better future created FIRST. Someone who believes that everyone deserves access to FIRST and that all FIRST team members are the culture changers our world needs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome FIRST founder, Dean Kamen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. So it's kickoff weekend. You excited? This is like one of your favorite times of the year?
It sort of happens every year, yeah.
It sort of happens nice when it's with people in the house too, isn't it? Well, 5 years ago, before we get to the present team, 5 years ago, we made a video for that kickoff, and we want to see if the message still holds up. So let's roll that video right now, would we?
Very soon, you're going to be let in on this year's game, and it's another good one. Trust me. Now we want you to be successful. The world needs more capable, smart, young innovators. FIRST team members have been 2 steps ahead for many years now, taking the hands-on, real-world experience that we give them out into the workplace. They're innovating in the world of technology, design, manufacturing, and making an impact. I know because I see them, I meet with them, I work with them, and best of all, I hire them. My best ideas come when I'm enthusiastic, when I'm optimistic, when I'm talking to the FIRST community. Then you gotta go back to the shop and turn those ideas into reality. It's tough, it's frustrating, but somebody's gotta do it. It's probably you. Now look, I understand the big problems are gonna be really hard to solve. And I understand you'll probably fail along the way. In fact, many times. I've failed at more things more times than most people I know. It doesn't matter how many times you fail, especially when you're trying to do something that nobody's ever done, and it's difficult and it's important. What matters is that each time you fail, you learn from it, you pick yourself back up, and you try again. And if you fall down 7 times but stand up 8, you're a winner. And I hope you're seeing that in your first experience.
So what do you think, Dean? Does that message still hold up?
I'm a very boring guy. I've been saying the same thing for 30 years. Look, people, school is a wonderful place to get the tools, to learn from the couple of thousand years of hey, we call it Archimedes' principle. We can learn from that. It's part of our logo. He died 2,000 years ago. There's an enormous amount of knowledge that you can get in a school, tools you can get. But tools don't succeed or fail. They're just tools. What FIRST does is allow you to use those tools to create the next generation of knowledge and innovate. But to go forward, where the answers aren't already in the back of the book, you have to do something you don't typically do in school. You have to do things that haven't been done. You're going to not get to the right solution the first time. School teaches you sort of how to not fail by learning from everything we've already known. FIRST teaches you how to deal with the failures that are inevitable as we move forward, as we raise the bar, as we move the world to a better place. So I've been saying it for 30 years. It's okay. In fact, it's part of what FIRST is, to teach you how to deal with failure, learn from failure, learn how to use it to make yourself stronger, to make your team stronger, to learn how to cooperate, communicate, collaborate, and move us to a place that most people in the generation before you couldn't have even imagined.
So not only is the message important in that video, but it's one of our favorite videos because it's one of the most comfortable places I've ever seen you. When you're in your machine shop, you're in a great headspace. And this year, our season sponsor, our game sponsor for Charged Up, is Haas. And you're very familiar with Haas, aren't you?
So I got machines in my house, but if anybody wants to go down to my mill yard, you'll see an entire floor full of Haas machines. We use them to turn ideas into reality. Haas makes some fantastic equipment. We use it every day in our shop. I'm sure a lot of you have used it or will soon be using it. But Gene Haas Foundation and the Haas Company have become enormous supporters of FIRST. They're helping us enable more kids to get more access to advanced technology, CNC machines, and all sorts of cool stuff, to make all sorts of cool stuff. So thank you, Haas.
Thank you, Haas. And the Gene Haas Foundation for sponsoring this season's challenge. Now, students in life have a lot of choices. What makes the choice to join a FIRST team different? Like, if you're selling FIRST, why? Why would a student get on a FIRST team?
The only reason I think a kid would want to be on a FIRST team is because it gives them the opportunity to create a successful future for themselves. And
just that little thing.
I would say FIRST, as it's hard. Come on, people. It's really hard. It's high pressure. It's a short time. We don't give you enough equipment. We don't give you enough anything. We give you complex problems. And then you got to build it, you got to ship it, and it's got to work the first time when it's on that field in front of everybody. That's pressure. But that's real life. FIRST is a microcosm of what you can do with your life if you learn all the skill sets, as we've been saying again for 30 years. We're not using kids to build robots. We're using robots to build kids. And we're giving the communities access to connecting parents, teachers, mentors, sponsors, kids, technology, in a way that most of the kids, even after one season we've seen, have a transformed perspective about what's possible. And I don't think there's any other sport that is exciting, or I don't think there's any other activity that kids can do kind of as an aspirational after-school activity that can give them in such a short time so many opportunities to see what the possibilities in life are. If they develop that one muscle hanging between their ears in which humans are in the unlimited category for sports.
So from the beginning, was the collaborative spirit and the cooperation piece, was that always like part of the design?
In the early days when we started using the word cooperation, I actually asked Maureen to go trademark it for us. Nobody had ever done it. When I came up with a scoring system by which the winning team gets a multiple of the score of the team that they're competing with, we were able to get a patent on that process. And the interesting thing is you can only get a patent on something after you prove to the United States Patent Office it's novel and has never been done. In the entire history of sports, thousands of years of sports, nobody's ever created a game where you can incentivize the teams to each do better by helping the other one while they're still competing to be the best. So yes, I think the principle that we're here to show kids, and as Senator Haas said, it's not a zero-sum game. You know, without competition, most of the world is a zero-sum game. You've got oil, I need oil. You've got water, I need water. You've got land. For thousands of years, history is about fighting over the limited resources of land or oil or water or gold. Now think about technology. It's not only not a zero-sum game, but supposing you have a great idea. You know how to cure cancer. I got a great idea. I know how to make an engine that doesn't pollute. Well, if you had gold and I had money and we had a transaction, before the transaction you have gold, I have money. After the transaction, I have gold, you have money. Nothing changed, but there's more people fighting over less and less gold money. The world's diminishing. But you say to me, I got my great idea. I know how to cure cancer. I'll share it with you. You know how to make a better engine that won't pollute the environment? You share it with me. Before that transaction, there was one good idea in you and one good idea in me. After that transaction, we both have two great ideas to share. The world will be an unlimited source of creating value and wealth and problem solving when people learn how to use technology, because it's not only not a zero-sum game. Imagine a world with 8 billion people on it, all of whom are capable of solving problems and sharing the solutions. Then instead of racing each other to the bottom as we run out of natural resources, the world will explode in innovation and positive. I mean, all you have to do is think about now two outcomes for the world. Fewer and fewer people getting capable of using advanced technologies, spreading that gap between the haves and the have-nots until the world goes unstable. Or a world where we're bringing everybody along, everybody is able to see a better future for themselves, sharing opportunities with each other, and having a world where everybody has more opportunity to succeed. Technology is the only way to make that happen. As a former leader of a country and a visionary, a global statesman, Shimon Peres, told me after a few years of running first in Israel, he said, Dean, I've been in politics for more than 80 years. I've watched 4 generations of kids grow up in the Middle East. They each learn from their parents and their grandparents how to fight with each other. And nobody wins wars. I've seen what FIRST does. And these kids from all over the Middle East are now communicating and cooperating. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, you know what, Dean? Politics divides the world. Technology will unite it. We have to put FIRST in every school in the Middle East. And at the age of slightly over 90, he started that process, and we're going to finish it.
All right, great. Nicely said. So, Dean, you talked about cooperation, you talked about the future, you talked about imagination and creativity. Well, we've got all of that bundled up in this year's game. And I think our audience has been waiting long enough, been very patient. Are you ready to unveil the game?
I am absolutely ready to unveil this game.
All right, if you're done, let's get them going. Why don't you count it down? See if they're ready to count down, and we'll play the game animation.
Are you all ready? 3, 2, 1, charged up!
Welcome to the 2023 First Robotics Competition game, Charged Up. presented by Haas. 2 alliances of 3 teams each compete to score cubes and cones into their grid to charge up their community. The alliances earn additional points if their robots are docked to or engaged with their charge station. Robots start each match in their community and may be preloaded with either 1 cube or 1 cone. Each alliance may choose where to stage 4 additional game pieces. During the first 15 seconds of the match, robots are autonomous. Without guidance from their drivers, robots score preloaded game pieces, collect and score additional game pieces, and are docked to or engaged with their charge station. Charge station points earned during auto count towards a potential activation bonus. The grid has nodes specific to cones and cubes, and some where either a cone or cube can be scored. During the remaining 2 minutes and 15 seconds, drivers control their robots. Robots continue to collect cubes and cones from human players at their substations to deliver power to the grids in their community. Each community contains 3 grids. The center grid is the cooperation grid. A link is a line of 3 game pieces scored on the same row. Completing enough links earns the alliance a sustainability bonus. If each alliance scores at least 3 game pieces in the cooperation grid, the sustainability bonus threshold is lowered for both alliances. Robots are protected within their community and loading zones. As time runs out, robots race to their charge stations. Alliances earn points for each robot docked to or engaged with the charge station. Earning enough charge station points earns the alliance the activation bonus. The alliance that earns the most points wins the match.
Wow. All right, that is Charged Up, presented by Haas, and we are on the actual playing field, and it is big. There is so much open space on this playing field. I can't wait to see this year's game.
And so many cool field elements as well. I'm so excited.
Well, to start us off on the playing field, as our audience migrates down to see this, we're going to toss it over to Colin once again on the field near the grids.
Thank you, Blair, and welcome everyone to Charged Up, presented by Haas. I want to start off by acknowledging some of our generous sponsors. First up, Haas, our FRC game sponsor this year. They have been an amazing partner as we've developed the game and are a great partner to teams and our partners in our community, so thank you, Haas. I want to thank our Kickoff presenting sponsor, Novellus, and Kickoff sponsor, U.S. Space Force, for all of their help putting on this amazing show for our community. I also want to give a shout out to NI and Rockwell Automation, longtime sponsors and suppliers to FIRST. Their technology is critical to making the robots work and to making the field work every year. Thank you, NI and Rockwell Automation, for your support. And last, I want to give a shout out to our external reviewers of the game this year. So many people put effort into making sure that this game can be as good as it is when we send it out in front of our entire community. So thanks you to our external review team, our external chief volunteers who have given us feedback on how to make this game better. Thank you for the time that you put in. Now, we know that this is the one field that's set up in the world right now, which means that a lot of teams won't see an actual field until they get to their first competition. So, to help mitigate that, we have put so many resources on our playing field webpage. We've got drawings, we've got CAD files, we've got field tour videos that show you the size and scale of things and how different things interact, and we've got high-res photos from different points on the field so you can see what it'll look like to be in different driver stations, to be in different player stations, all to help you be prepared for when you get to your first event. You can get an idea for sight lines, for scale of objects, and all kinds of other details by checking out the playing field page. Next up, a reminder that First Choice Round 2 priority wait lists are open now. You can go on today and set that wish list for First Choice Round 2. Now, we know that a lot of teams will get to a point technically when they're building their robot where they just don't know what step to take next and they're going to need help. In addition to the Mentor Network, we have created some resources and compiled some of the best resources from our community on a technical resources page, so you can get help with everything from pneumatics to creating bumpers. If you need an idea of where to start with the brainstorming process, the technical resources page is a great place to start for your team, and I hope you check it out. Now, we talked earlier about safety, and I'm going to highlight safety again. There are a couple of things on this field that we want people to watch out for. First up is the charge station right here in front of me. It is big, it moves, it's loud, and robots are going to be driving onto it, hopefully, and then you have to get your robot off of it at the end of the match. So please be careful when you're loading robots off of the charge station and walking around it in between the matches. Next up, we've got this barrier that separates the community from the loading zone. Be careful as you're coming in through the gates. Watch out for that barrier as you're bringing your robot onto and off of the field. We've got 3,000 veteran teams this year, more than 3,000 veteran teams, and 267 rookie teams in FIRST Robotics competition this year. Good luck to all of you, and we will see you at the competitions. Arwen, back to you.
Thanks, Colin. Teams, we know you may have some questions about the field, so be sure to post them in the Twitch chat, and we'll answer them after we tour the field.
But all of the dimensions, the rules, they're all in the game manual. We will unlock that in a few minutes. But first, let's just check out some elements on the field with some of our game design team members. So I'm going to start with the charge station with Matt Pilot here from the game design team. Matt, happy kickoff.
Good to see you.
Happy kickoff. Okay. The charge station. This baby's big. This baby's heavy.
Yeah, it is big.
And it moves. Why don't you walk us through it a little bit?
All right, so the charge station is, it's 8 feet long, 4 feet wide. It has these ramps, lead-in ramps on both sides. As Colin just showed, it tips both ways towards the community and out towards the center of the field. It has lights integrated in it that show when it's level and when it's not level. And check out the manual and it'll tell you exactly what level means there. That's really important. But I guess the other important thing to know about the charge station is that these ramps are set up in a pretty nice way where it'll make it relatively easy, I think, for a robot to drive on. Should we kind of show them how that works?
Maybe a little later, but relatively easy? Relatively
well,
easy?
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks good to me. A lot tougher from that side. All right. We'll talk about the charge station. Put your questions in the chat. Now we're going to send it over to Arwen with Fiona at the substation.
Thanks, Blair. I'm here with Fiona right now at the substation. Fiona, can you talk a little bit about the substations and how they work?
Absolutely. So happy kickoff, everyone. So we actually have two substations, and these are going to be used by your human players to get the game pieces onto the field. So first we'll start with the double substation here. I've got a nice demo here, so there's two ways to use it. First, you put a game piece on the shelf, and then you bring your shelf out, and then your robot can grab one of the game pieces and bring it onto your grid. The other way is you can actually just drop it in, and then your robot can pick it up off the ground. So two different ways to use the double substation. Then we'll move on over to our single substation. So very similar concept, but a little bit different. So the way that you can do that, go ahead and do that, Nate. You just drop it in, and it goes onto the field. Very easy, and you can do this with either of the game pieces. So use both ways. And with that, I think that's kind of the basic instruction on how the substations work.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Fiona. Now we're going to head back to Blair and Matt at the grid.
All right, we are here at the grid. Thank you, Arwen and Fiona. The grid takes up 2/3 of the ends of the field. Walk us through the grid. What are all these pieces, and how do you score?
All right, so the grid is the main scoring structure on the field. And the grid we'll start off, there's 3 different levels of the grid. There's the top row, the middle row, and the bottom row. The bottom row is the level right at the carpet level. And then there are pegs or each location where you can score, we call that a node. And the pegs are for scoring cones. The shelves are for scoring the cubes. And the nodes on the floor, those are hybrid nodes, and you can score a cone or a cube in a hybrid node.
All right, got it.
The other thing that's fun about all the grids is that there's a bunch of different vision targets. So we're using retroreflective tape, as we have for a long time, on on the pegs, but we also added the April tags, which is new for this year, which is another kind of cool way to detect where you are on the field and relative to the grid.
All right, great. We are going to answer your questions in the chat in just a minute, but first, I think they've been patient enough. I think it's time to reveal the code.
Yep. We will continue to answer your questions to take a closer look later on, but here is the code.
Open that game manual. All the rules and dimensions are all in there. We'll get your questions from the Twitch chat and be back here in just about 15 seconds. With him over there if you want to watch him drive. Okay. All right. The game manual is unlocked. Now we start answering questions. So earlier you mentioned it was fairly easy to drive a robot onto the charge station.
Yeah.
So I think we should demo that. So how about we start with that?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so we've got a KitBot out here on the field, and we've got Jay, who's behind the glass there, behind the driver's station. Let's get off the field, just in case. All right, Jay, let's take that KitBot up onto the charge station. Yo, nicely done.
Jay.
Give the man a prize. Okay, that's one of our KitBots in-house and the controls, so we had one of our engineers do it. Now we're going to have a student do it. This is Nora from Team 8708. Let's just, let's give her a whirl. Nora nails it. Super well done. Nice job, Nora, showing Jay up. That was good. All right, let's, down there, I think we've got a question over there for Fiona.
Thanks, Blair. I'm here with Fiona again. Fiona, can you tell me how we know the cubes are in spec?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So as you can see, these cubes are kind of inflatable, and so you can definitely put them too much air or too little air into it. So we actually created this cube measuring jig that will be sent with all the fields to ensure that the cubes are in spec. So it's super easy to use. We even have a video that's going to be posted online shortly of how this works. But a quick demo here. All you do is you put the cube on a level surface, the ground, and then you can put this on top. And as long as both sides are not touching the ground and both edges of the cube are not touching this, the cube is in spec. And they can check it all three ways, and so that's a really easy way to do it, and we'll be using that at the event. So if you aren't sure if your cube is in spec, you can ask the field staff. We also have a drawing of this available online, so you can actually go and make your own.
So make sure to check out all those resources, and now it's back to you, Blair, with another question.
All right, our question is from Jedi4 Westhaken. Can the cones be placed in any orientation on the nodes?
No, they can't. So you gotta, in order to score the cone, so it can either be, on the floor in the hybrid node, but if it's on a peg, it's gotta be like resting on the peg, right? Whether it's fully down or definitely, on top of the peg. But like, if you got a robot that's really impressive, that's not gonna count. And it's going to fall off real easily.
All right.
All right, our next question is from ARON95. Is there a specific pattern on the grid?
So sort of. As you can see, there's these poles here and the shelves. The poles and the shelves are what the game pieces are going to go on. So for instance, these shelves are for the cubes, and the cones go on the poles, and so we call them the nodes. We've got the cone nodes, the cube nodes, and then on the ground here is what we call our hybrid nodes. So hybrid nodes, either a cone or a cube can go in there, and that will count as scored. And when you're scoring, if you make the links, you get more points. So be sure to check out the manual for all those details. Back to you, Blair.
All right, one question is, how much cargo can a robot carry? How many cones? How many?
You can only carry one cone or one game piece. So one cone at a time or one cube at a time. That's it.
Okay, that's good. But let's go over here to the cooperation grid. Let's talk
All right.
about what makes this center section different.
So the cooperation, this center section of the grid, the co-op grid, this 3x3 section in the middle, is special in that if you score 3 game pieces on the grid, so I've got 3 game pieces here, and the opposing alliance also scores 3 game pieces, at least 3 game pieces in the grid, then you lower the threshold for the stability bonus, and gets you a little bit close. Like the threshold is a lot easier to get to for the ranking point, which is nice. So working together benefits both teams.
And any orientation, they don't have to be in a row.
Nope. On the co-op grid, as long as there's 3 in there, that's all you need.
So what about creating a link? I don't think we talked about that
So links, that's a little different. So with a link, you get a link is 3 game pieces that are scored horizontally adjacent, and they can be anywhere in the grid, but they have to be horizontal. So that's one link right here. Move this game piece over here. That's also a link. And if you score 5 links, then you can get the stability bonus.
So is this a link?
Or the sustainability bonus.
Is that a link?
That's also a link, Blair.
Okay. All right. Arwen and Fiona, back to you.
All right, our next question is from Bug Anarchy, who is wondering, can you score multiple cones onto?
So that's a great question. You could theoretically score 2 on top of 1, but only 1 is going to count. So we don't recommend doing that, but if 1 accidentally lands there, you're going to still get the points for just the 1.
Perfect. And now back to you, Blair.
We've got a question from Fruiton Fire YT. What happens if you score a cube on a cone shelf? A cone on a cube shelf.
No credit.
No credit.
No, there's no score for that. So when on the pegs and the shelf, you have to. Those are designated spots for cones and cubes. The only place where you can get where you can score both game pieces and earn points is in the hybrid nodes, which are right on the floor.
All right. And while we're here, you can notice the struts that stick out are fairly narrow. You're not going to fit a robot in there, are you?
Well, I guess you could make your robot really narrow and scoot it in there if you wanted, right?
And they're a little bit wider on the outside grids.
They are a little wider on the outside, yeah. So they're not all the same. They're not all the same width. That's right.
Got it. Okay, Arwen and Fiona.
Perfect. So Fiona, our next question is from ALN, and they're wondering, will the able tags change between competitions or between events?
No, that's another good question. So these April tags here are unique to the position on the field. So you can see here, this one says ID 3. This will always be ID 3. And they actually go around the field. So we've got 1 through 8. There's 8 different locations, and teams can use that code to know exactly where they are on the field to help them with the game.
Perfect. Back to you, Blair.
All right. The yearly question, the annual question, can you de-score? Can you take pieces out of your opponents after they've been scored?
Off of your opponents?
Yes. Can a red alliance come down here and de-score a cone?
That is definitely against the rules.
That is definitely against the rules.
Yeah, stay away from that.
Yeah, stay away from that. That's not going to help you. Okay, Arwen and Fiona.
Our next question from an audience is from here. Our question is, how many points is the difference between scoring a cone and a cube?
Another great question. Our community is filled with all these good questions. So it doesn't matter which object you're scoring, it matters what level you score it on. So for instance, if you score it on the ground, it's going to be the least amount of points. When you move up, a little bit more, and when you move up to the top, a little bit more. So we do it by level rather than by game object. So cones and cubes are the same amount of points.
And make sure to check out the game manual for more information about cones and cubes.
Absolutely.
Back to you, Blair.
Yes. Read the manual, read the manual, read the manual.
For sure.
Next question is about the orientation of the game pieces being entered in the field. Can they enter in any orientation? Do you want to just...
Yeah, so if you're entering in a game piece from the double substation here, there's no requirement that you have to place the cone or the cube in any specific orientation. You can lay it on its side, or if you want to balance it on the tip of the cone, that's fine. There's no requirements, whether here or if you're using the single substation and sliding it down the ramp.
Can you just show that cone going down and hitting the ramp?
Yeah, slide this out of the way.
That's another way the game pieces can be entered as well. All right, back to you, Arwen and Fiona.
Our next question is about the bridge. So people are wondering, how hard is it to get on the bridge, and what happens if something gets stuck under the bridge?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We did do that demo earlier, so I encourage, if you missed that segment, to go back and re-watch it, where we had both an FRC staff member drive a robot onto the charge station, as well as a random team member drive it for the first time. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to get on. You just have to press a little bit of pressure on it, and then you can push it down. So it is designed such that the kit of parts drivetrain can go on it. Now, for the second part of your question about what happens if a game piece gets lodged under there, we did design it in such that it shouldn't be affected. So what I'll do is I'll take one of our cones and I'm going to jam it under here to kind of show what might happen. It might be underneath. Still doesn't matter though, the bridge will operate in the same way as long as you put enough pressure on that spot. And so that should work for both game pieces.
Perfect. Back to you, Blair.
All right, once again, read the manual, read the manual, read the manual. We've got a lower third up now. The Q&A is now on the screen, so make sure you follow that link as well. Our next question is about if you have 4 game pieces in a row, that's a link, or is that 2 links, or do you need 6 pieces to make 2 links?
You need 6 pieces to make 2 links. We're not trying to double count game pieces to make up links. When you get 3, that's 1 link, and now you got to get to 6.
You need a separate 3 for the next. Okay, good question. Arwen.
We have another question from our Twitch chat, and someone is wondering, if a team puts a cube or cone on the grid, can another team take that piece and move it to a higher level?
So that's a good question. What will happen is if, for instance, this cube is on this shelf, we're going to score it as that. So during the match, it'll go that. If one of your alliance partners then decides to take this off, the points for that goes away, and then your points will get on the top. So be sure to look at the manual for all those specific details on how scoring works. Perfect. Back to you, Blair.
All right, good question here from Loser Statistics. Can you throw the cones or the cubes to score?
So if you are in the community, that is permitted. You can. I don't remember the exact language in the manual, but read the manual, and it is permitted though. If you want, you don't have to just place the game piece.
You can launch from inside the community.
As long as you're in this community.
Which is the blue line on the floor at the other side. Yep. No, we got an arc.
Right.
All right.
Very accurate. Good job.
Arwen.
Now our next question is from Austin98, who is wondering, do robots fully have to be on the charging station?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Do robots have to fully be on the charging station?
Sure, so that's a good question. So there's actually specific language in the manual about how the charge station scoring works. For instance, if you are on it like this, the charge station is not level, so you're not going to get the maximum amount of points. However, if you go all the way and you see the lights turn on, that indicates that the charge station is level and you're going to get more points.
Back to you, Blair.
So Matt, will 3 robots fit on the charge station?
Well, it's 4 feet wide, or 4 by 8, right? So it's a pretty big, or 4 feet by 8 feet. It's a pretty big surface. So the math says that you should be able to get 3 on there.
And let's just revisit how squishy are these cubes? Can you just give us a little squish test, a little squeeze?
There. I mean, so this is, Fiona showed that the measurement device earlier. So this one's been inflated with that, and it does squish a bit.
Yeah. All right, back over to you, Arwen and Fiona.
Our next question is from Ethan Hardy, who wants to know, can you take multiple game pieces at one time onto the field, and can you put them in the same place, same node?
Yeah, so pay attention to how many game pieces each team can hold, which is 1. And so you're gonna have to go to your substation, grab the game piece, and then drive across the field with it, and then score it. And so we recommend scoring it where you're trying to go, but you could, as a strategy, take the game pieces to one side and allow an alliance partner to be the one who actually places them. It's up to you and your team to figure out what's gonna work best for your team, as well as your alliance.
So all teams have to go all the way to the other side to get game pieces from their human players, or they can get them from the center?
From the center, or each robot is allowed to start with a game piece at the beginning of the match as well.
Perfect. Back to you, Blair.
All right, let's talk about robots in the community. So I'm the Blue Alliance, and I'm trying to score here. Can Red Alliance robots enter the community?
So if I'm a Red Alliance robot and you're a Blue Alliance robot, I can come into your community, but definitely want to read the manual there, because there are some rules about what happens with interaction between robots in the community, and it's definitely a little perilous to try to drive into your opponent's community.
All right. I think that's the end of the questions and the amount of time we have. There's an endless number of questions. We just want to say thank you for attending one of your local kickoffs. We hope you enjoyed this game. Thank you to Matt and Fiona for everything that you've shared on the field. Have a great season. Happy kickoff. Happy Charged Up. We are out of here. Good luck this season.
Great job, teams, today, and good luck. Have a great season.
Happy kickoff, everybody.